Hey everybody, so yesterday was Monday, which is when I do the hashtag What Did You Play Monday? Actually, this is a challenge that was started by my friend Chris Cormier, who runs Geeky Goodies. And every Monday he shares a picture kind of inviting everybody to talk about the games that they've played that past week. So for me, here's the list. I first started with Boo. Now, Boo is part of this Paco game series, and I purchased this secondhand, but everything was still in shrink, and there's 18 different games in this. I just like how cute and small it is. Like, this game is small. It's smaller than a pack of gum, right? Like, in that thing, that's where the name the Paco game comes from. Like the really small Paco gums, that's kind of the size that it is. And we played a couple over the last week, and I'm impressed. So Boo is a 2-player version of kind of a ghost themed game. So you have kind of some cards that are set up in the middle that sets up the cemetery, and each card will have some white ghosts and some black ghosts, and each player will be one of the other. And then on your turn, you're going to add a card that'll have ghosts on it. And now, if I place, let's say I'm a white player and I place a white ghost, then I can follow the gaze of my white ghost and see if it'll look through other white ghosts and then see if it hits another black ghost. And then if the black ghost that's along the path of my gaze isn't looking back at me, I get to flip that card over. And on the other side, it's the opposite. So where there's a black ghost, there's going to be a white ghost, whereas the white ghost is going to be a black ghost, and they're going to aim the opposite direction as well. So you're playing these cards, trying to extend your gaze so that you'll flip cards over to try to manipulate so that there are more ghosts of your color on the board. It was really neat. The art is really cutesy as well. Plays quick, and I was really impressed with this one. Now, the next one that I played was Nut from that same series, and this one is a 2 to 3 player game. It plays completely different. Now, all the cards are all the same size, but in this one, you kind of set different rows, like depending on the number of players. So we were playing 2, so we'd have 3 sets of 2 cards, and the active player will decide what card they want to add onto their tree. And then if they get to pick first, and the other player has to take the other one from that set. And then 2 new cards get added to create a new set. And then the active player is now the other player, and they get to pick which card they want, kind of forcing you to get the other one from that set as well. And you got to play your cards so that they're trunk to trunk and sky to sky. But you can cover up some of the other cards. So let's say there was a blue nut, and that wasn't really where I was accumulating them. I could cover that up so that it'd be an orange nut, trying to create a bigger cluster of orange nuts, let's say. At the end of the game, you're going to tally up all of the clusters you've created. Now, not counting diagonal, so anything that are touching up and down, side to side. Now, if you add a squirrel of that same color, it actually going to double the value of your cluster. So it's beneficial if you can do that. Then there's also kind of rainbow nuts, and basically those are just wilds, and they can be used in any clusters that they are touching. It was neat. I really enjoy this one. After that, I played Liar's Dice. I bought Liar's Dice back in spring, finally got it to my house, and this version is amazing. So the box looks like a treasure chest. And then when you open it, there's a neoprene mat that's going to keep track of the bidding. And then there's 6 kind of leather cups, and then the dice have these really neat pip, and it has that kind of old age look to it, and it was really neat. So we ended up playing with me, Lee, and 3 of the kids, and it was a lot of fun. So you roll the dice, and you kind of secretly look at what you got, and you're going to start bidding. Now, aces are aces. I can't even talk today. Dice that have just a 1 pip on it are wild. They can be added to anything. And then you'll look. So in this example, I had 3 fours. So it would make sense for me to bid on 4 since I have the most of that. So I could go ahead and bid 3 4. Now, I could assume that most of the other players are going to have 4s or wild, so I could be actually go at 5 4. Now, the next player either has to bid a higher pip, so still 5 dice at a higher pip, so they could go 5 5s or 5 6, or they can bid whatever pip they want, but go with an extra dice and go, well, I think there's 6 3s, or whatever they decide they want to bid. And on the next turn, so you bid, and then it goes to the next player. Now, that next player has the choice of bidding higher than what you've bid or challenging what is being said. So I was like, you know what? I don't think there's that many 3s. And they challenge everybody reveals. You put all of your 3s in this case and all your 1s ahead, and then you tally up. If the bid was successful, then the person who challenged it loses a dice. If the bid was not successful, then the person who didn't meet the bid loses a dice. And you keep doing that until there's only one player left with dice. It's a really interesting game. I really enjoy it. And then just the look of it. The components are great. Then we played King of Tokyo. I hadn't played King of Tokyo with my family in a little while. I had played it at FallCon. So this is my stepdaughter's one of her favorite game ever. I ended up playing as the space penguin, which did not help me at all. I was the first to die. So in this case, each player will play as a monster, and the goal is to destroy Tokyo. And you do that either by destroying all the monsters, and you're the last player standing, or to accumulate 20 victory points. Now, when you move into Tokyo, you gain a victory point. If you start your turn into Tokyo, you will gain 2 victory points. But the drawback is when you're in Tokyo, you cannot heal. Now, the person who's in Tokyo, when they deal damage, they hit every other player. Now, every other player that is not in Tokyo will hit the monster that is in Tokyo. When you're in Tokyo, if you take any damage, you have the choice to leave Tokyo, and then whoever hits you have to move in if you decide to leave. And it's Yahtzee style, so you have dice that you'll be rolling. You'll have claws that'll deal damage. You have heart that will heal you. There are little lightning bolts that's going to give you energy cube, which you can spend to purchase cards. That's going to give you special abilities. And then there's going to be number 1, 2, and 3. If you roll 3 of a kind, you would get that many victory points. If you roll more than 3 of a kind, you would just get additional victory points for that as well. Super neat game. And then we had a good time with this one, but yeah, I died very quickly. Then we played Love Letter. We play Love Letter a lot. It's one of our favorite. So Love Letter is super simple. It's 18 cards, and you have a card in your hand, you draw a card, you play a card. In this example here, I'm obviously playing the guard. Now, when you play a guard, you try to guess what another player's card is. If you guess correctly, they're eliminated from the round. Each card will have different abilities like that. So you're either trying to eliminate the other players, or if you're still standing at the end of all the round, then you're trying to have a bigger or higher valued card than the other player as well. Then whoever wins that round will get a red cube, which is a favor from the princess. Depending on the number of players, like in a 3-player game, is the first one to reach 5 would win the game. After that, we played Sylvion. This one was gifted to me for my birthday, and I had played another one from this series, and it was neat, so I was like, oh, maybe I'd like to get the entire series, so they ended up giving me this one. And I gotta say, either we played it wrong, which is highly possible, or this game is really hard, which is also possible. But you play as the forest, and the bad guys are the fire, and the fire's trying to spread through the forest. And if you have the entire forest get engulfed with flames, or have a flame reach an area of the forest that is already affected by the fire, then you lose immediately. So we lost pretty quick. I'm pretty sure we played some of the rules incorrectly. I'd have to review it. The artwork is super neat in this one, and you kind of have a grid where like the fire kind of spread over, and then if it reaches the end of the road, then the forest catches fire. So it was a neat game for sure. After that, we played Dr. Eureka. Dr. Eureka is so neat. Everybody gets 3 beakers, and in each of those beakers, you have 2 marbles of the same color, and then you'll flip a card over. And then on that card, it shows the 3 beakers with the marbles in it in a specific pattern. And then without dropping your marbles, you have to move them from beaker to beaker to trying to relocate them so that you matches the symbol. When you match the symbol, you shout out Dr. Eureka, then you get that card, and then you set up with the next one. So you don't touch the beakers, you leave them as is, then you flip the next card, and then you're trying to go for the next round. This one is neat. It's hectic. First player to get 5 card is the winner. And then after that, we played Click Clack Lumberjack. Now, this game comes under different names, Tuck Tuck Jack, I believe, and different things like that. This one is neat. So you set up this trunk or this tree, and then you have the middle piece. And on all the side of the middle piece, you have this bark. And you use this plastic axe to hit the different level, trying to knock out just the bark. Now, if you end up knocking out the middle piece is going to be worth -5 points. And each piece of bark that you knock out is worth 1 point. Now, if there's a little grub sticker on it, it's actually worth an extra point. And you're trying to knock down the bark without knocking down the core piece of the tree. And whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. Super neat. It gets kind of like an advanced Jenga. This is a better version of Jenga as far as I'm concerned. After that, I played Canvas with my stepdaughter. And this is such a neat, beautiful game. So you have all these clear cards that have different artwork on it. And then on the bottom, you'll see kind of different colors and then different patterns on them. And then you'll be drawing different cards that's going to, like if you have 3 of the same symbol in a row, well, then you get this ribbon. And then each of these ribbons are going to be worth so much point. And then there'll be one, like if you have 4 different symbols, you would get this ribbon. And there's different requirements to score for each one. So you're trying to collect these clear cards and stack them in certain ways. So at the bottom, you're going to have different symbols showing, and you slide that into this sleeve, and then that's your artwork, and then you score your ribbons on it, and then you move on, and you'll end up doing 3 artwork. Now, you can collect up to 5 cards, and if you have 5 cards in your hand, you have to create an artwork with what you got. You also have a little easel token that allows you to skip the one that's at the edge, so you can take the second one or the third one if you keep putting down easels, or pallets, I mean, just so that you can kind of control which card you're getting a little bit more. It's such a neat, beautiful looking game, and it's a lot of fun. My stepdaughter loves it. Then we played Land versus Sea. And with this one, it's a 2-player game. Well, 2 to 4. I've only played it 2. And it works really well at 2. So one person plays as the land, one person plays as the sea, and you're trying to create clusters of what you are. But you're trying to create the clusters and close it in. So once you close in one of your clusters, you get to score it. And you would score each tile that took to create it. And if there's any symbols, like little X symbols on your cluster, you get to claim those as well. And then you keep score, which has a score tracker inside the box. And you keep score as you're playing, trying to, whoever has the most point is the winner. This one has a bit of a Carcassonne feel to it, just because of adding the tiles, scoring as you go, has that Carcassonne feel. But it's a neat game. It plays with different sets of rules for sure, so it's a lot of fun. And then I was at my sister's, and me and my nephew and my sister ended up playing Rummikub. And Rummikub is an older game, and it's one that I really enjoy. And I had actually purchased this one for my sister. I was like, hey, I know you'll like this too. You got to get it. And then she hadn't played it yet, so we ended up playing it just so she'd know how to play. And you start with 14 tiles in front of you, and they'll go anywhere from 1 to 13, and they'll be of different color, either black, red, yellow, or blue. And you're trying to create these clusters. So either the same number in different colors, or all the same color, creating a row of, like 9, 10, 11, 12. So that it kind of matches up numerical order. Now, once it's on the table, you can start manipulating what is there. So let's say I had a cluster of 4 11s of different colors. Well, to be legally put on the table, you need to have at least 3 tiles. So I could take an 11 from that one, add a 10, and add a 12 to create a second cluster so that I eliminate some of the tiles from my tray. And the first player to empty out their tray ends the round, and everybody else will tally up the number, like the value of each tile that they have left on their tray, and then I would go to the score, and you would play so many rounds, and then whoever has the lowest score would be the winner. And then I had purchased recently Top Gun strategy game, and I bought this on theme alone. My family really enjoy the Top Gun, well, I would say series now with the Maverick movie coming out. And it was funny because I purchased it and I put it on the shelf, and my stepson was walking by and then he stopped and he turned over and he looked. He's like, Top Gun? What? So then we were at home. We're like, well, should we play something? And they're like, yeah, let's play something. And then he suggested that we play the Top Gun game. So we cracked it open, punched everything out, and started reading the rule book. And it's actually fairly simple to play. And it was neat. So it plays in 2 phases. The first one is you have the volleyball phase, like they have in the one scene in the movie. So you have the yellow cards and the blue cards. So you either play as Maverick and Goose, or you play as Iceman, and I forget who Iceman's partner is, but so those are the 2 teams. And then, so Maverick and Goose are the yellow cards, and you would look at these cards and you would put them all down. So you have a set which allows you to move it 1 card over. So depending on where it's located, you can send it over the net or to another player, like 1 over. So that's what set does. Bump allows you to move it 1 or 2, like side to side, up and down. And then spike allows you to send it at anywhere on the other side. So you have this little volleyball token that you'll kind of send as like, okay, well, I'm going to put it there. And then the person can flip the card over and says, okay, well, this is a set, so I'm going to send it over here. And then you can see what the cards are. Well, yourself, the other player doesn't know what you have. And then this is a spike, so then I can go and send it on this side, and I'm hitting this card, so then you have to reveal. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to reveal the whiff card. And whiff is when you miss the volleyball. And then when you reveal a whiff card, it says on there that the other team gets to take an extra maneuver token that they'll be able to use in the second round, or an extra weapons card that they'll get to activate in the next round. And so trying to find the whiff is going to give you an advantage into the second round. So you're collecting all these extra things you'll be able to use. Then you go to the next round, and you have this map, and you have these little planes, and along that stick, the planes can go from different altitudes. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 4 different level of altitude. Now you'll do different movement, and you have these tiles that, okay, so you're starting this way, it allows you to move and turn this way, but it drops you 2 altitudes. So if you're not at least at 3, you can't do that action because you would hit the ground. So then it's like, oh shoot, I can't do that unless you have the weapons card that allows you to ignore altitude change. Or you'll have some weapon cards that will attack, like, or target in front of you, or protect if you're targeted from behind, and you'll have different cards. So you're trying to manipulate your plane to be in a position where you can target the other player. First player to target the other player ends that round. If you have 12 points, you've ended the game and you win. If you don't have 12 points yet, then you go back into the volleyball phase to try to get more cards and movement cards to go back into this targeting practice and trying to accumulate points and try to win the game. Because each time you target the other player, you get 5 points. Now, if you're the defender, you can also try to land on these different tiles, and that would give you additional 2 points when you land and collect those. It was really neat. I had heard mixed reviews about it. Some people was like, that volleyball seems weird. I liked it. Like, I liked how it all played together. Now, my one thing with this one is it says it's 2 to 4 players. It's not. This is a 2-player game. No, we played it 3 players, and it was ridiculous. So Lee did the targeting plane thing. I did the volleyball part, and Nick did both on his side. But this honestly really is a 2-player game, in my opinion. And then that's it for the games I've played this week. So be sure to follow me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Mel and Friends Board Game Room. I am also on Instagram as Mel's _ board game _ room. And then my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room. And I also have a podcast that that we post every week with my friend Carla called The Board Game Specialist. So bye everybody.